Welcome to Simple Career, a channel which intends to help you get hired, provide valuable career tips by bringing professionals from different industries, and helping you increase the amount of knowledge to shape your career. So, in today's video, we have Mr. Thomas, who is a member of the global board of Arthur D. Little, a management consulting company. He is responsible for the complete operation of Arthur D. Little in the Middle East. He is also a part-time faculty at leading colleges in India such as IIM Ahmedabad, IIM Bangalore. So in today's video, he will be providing values on leadership, key qualities which he looks when he is hiring someone, tips on how you can grow and shape your career, and the overall impact of COVID on the consulting industry. So without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Thomas Kuruvilla.
Thank you very much, Nikhil. My pleasure to participate and provide some inputs and thoughts. Yeah, hopefully it will be useful for the listeners. Thank you.
So people management is a skill which everyone needs to develop, and it's not an easy task. So, considering that you're currently managing the entire operations in Middle East, what is your advice on leadership?
What I may say may sound quite aggressive or not normal. The best way to for you to become a good leader is to first of all assume that you don't know anything, right? Which means you will try to bring in the best people around you, right? So what you do is, if the way I'm running R30 Little, for example, you should look. It makes my life and R30 Little very good when you try to bring the best people around you, not to try to bring people by which you can be the boss and everybody is below me. And no, best leaders are, you assume that I don't know much, bring in the best people suitable for running R30 Little, keep them around you, and keep very a non-hierarchical open door policy, right? You brought the right people, you want them to run the business, you keep it very non-hierarchical, you guide them in taking decisions, you allow them to make mistakes, you have to encourage them, because when you bring people and you, if you're hierarchical, it doesn't help, because when you're hierarchical, they are not entrepreneurial, they don't take risks, they don't take make mistakes, then the fundamental purpose of getting good people is stupid, right? And this is the biggest mistake many organizations do and many consulting firms do. What good I don't want to say good because it's not good in my view. What organizations do is they go through a very elaborate process to bring in very, very good people. But then they're hierarchical. They don't give them the flexibility. The boss expects the junior to do what the boss tells him to do. Why did you bring an intelligent person to start with? You should have brought some stupid normal person. You see what I'm trying to say, right? So the logic is, people normally bring in good people, but then you behave as if you are better than them. You behave in a very hierarchical fashion. If they make a mistake, you blame them, right? That's completely contradictory, right? Either you bring in stupid people, which is cheap, then at least you save financially and you take all the decisions, or you bring in very good people and allow them to take decisions, allow them to make mistakes, support them, and very importantly, you have to develop them, right? You have to really, because now you are not applying your mind, you're developing people, bringing good people, allowing a good environment for them to work, and they will give you good output, and then you have to train them, develop the people to work together, right? And one final input I have is, you always have to ensure ethical behavior, because this is something that is quite lacking, unfortunately. People are normally ethical. It is the organization and the hierarchy and the boss and the setup is making them to behave unethical. Everybody wants to behave in an ethical fashion, right? Let me give you an example that we do a lot of due diligences in consulting, let us say, right? A due diligence, I hope the audience understands what is a due diligence. A due diligence is somebody wants to apply for a loan for $500 million. So they give the consultant the business plan. The consultant has to validate the business plan and tell the bank, okay, you can give them $500 million as a loan. But the consulting project is given to you by the party who's trying to get the loan. Correct? But if they don't get the loan, they may not want to pay you your consulting fees, which means that if you're not ethical, you may tend to tell the bank that this business is good, give them $500 million of loan. But if you're an ethical consultant, you should not be worried about your fees. That is, it's not correct. You have evaluated the situation. You tell the company that, sorry, I cannot give you a clean chit for you to get $500 million loan because your company is risky. I don't see how you can pay back on that. You still have to pay my fees because I did a due diligence. I'm supposed to do a due diligence and I'm supposed to tell you whether you should get a loan or not. The outcome of you getting a loan was not the determinant of my fees. My fees is I do a good due diligence. You see where I'm coming from, right? Similarly, whenever you do an organization structuring project, the client almost tells you what you want you to tell them as an organization structure. He may want to put a son there, his uncle there, his relative there, or he may want to keep a position that he's important. You cannot. That is not ethical consulting, right? But the point is, if you are running a business, you have to give the comfort to the people reporting to you that if you stick to ethics, and even if ADL loses money, we make loss, the clients don't come to us, I am not going to blame anybody of you. I'm going to support you. I'm going to encourage you for your behavior. We can lose money, we can lose clients, we can lose consulting fees. The moment you give that comfort to the people, actually people are very ethical. They prefer to behave ethically, right? The problem is they're worried whether the boss likes it because the company lost money. Arthur D. Little are not getting consulting projects. Nobody comes to them for a due diligence, and maybe Thomas doesn't like it, and then they start behaving unethically. The assumption is they want people to make money. No, no, no. That is wrong. A good boss is, in addition to whatever I said, should facilitate, encourage ethical behavior, and you should be willing to take business losses and all of that. But I can tell you one last input on this topic. Actually, you make much better business than by doing ethical business, because in the long run, people will always remember that, and more people will come to you than the people that you lose because of unethical behavior. So even from a pure profit value creation perspective, remaining ethical will give you more business. I've seen it very clearly in India. In the short term, you may lose it, but in the long term, they will come to you. Um, I'm very passionate about this topic. I do have clients who are shareholders in some companies and management in some other company. Management means I'm an employee. In that company, he doesn't appoint me because he knows that I cannot manipulate the consulting engagement. I'm the CEO of the company. But wherever I'm the shareholder, he gives only me the consulting projects because he knows that his management cannot manipulate me. You see? So where I am the owner of the company, he only gives projects to Arthur D. Little. Wherever he's the management, he doesn't give me the project because he knows as a CEO, he cannot manipulate me. But he also knows that his own CEOs cannot manipulate Thomas. You see how it works? Right? So at the end of it, remaining ethical is always good. At the end of it, you will be happy on your own, right? When you do good work, ethical work, and all of that. And the whole environment in the office is also very good. Yeah.
So, as a leader in this particular field, what are your expectations from new recruits or a fresher who is just joining a consulting industry? Also, what are the key qualities which you look for when you are hiring someone?
Before I answer, Nikhil, let me ask you, what do you think are the good qualities of a consultant? Because generally people seem to know what should be a good consultant. Let me ask you the question back. Let me see whether you answer what I think is important.
Well, two main criteria which I believe is very important is one, a structured approach. How is your approach and your thought process to a particular problem? And second would be the willingness to learn. So I believe it is very important to be open minded.
Very good. I think that's quite all the qualities you mentioned are very important, and I think you covered most of the aspects for a good consultant. But let me give you a bit more deeper insight from the lot of working with lot of consultants. Yeah. The requirement of a good consultant is contradictory. Let me explain to you why it is contradictory. Normally, when you bring in somebody into consulting, they would have been extremely successful before they came into consulting firm. They would have been the school topper. They would have studied in IITs, IIMs, Ivy League business schools. They would have been very intelligent, good in communication skills. They have all the good qualities that you just mentioned. And the whole world has told them that you are the best in the world before you come into consulting. Indirectly, it makes you believe that you're always right and you are a bit arrogant. And throughout your life, you have been, let us say, 95%, 99% of the time, you have been correct amongst others, because that is why you are the class topper and you're doing very well. And people find it very difficult to admit to a mistake. The difficulty of admitting to a mistake, or a difficulty to accept that there are a lot more people around you are better than you, is a very important criteria or quality, but consultants lack that, right? I can give you very simple examples, and I've actually tested this out, right? When consultants make a presentation, and in the process of making a presentation, let us say they identify that they found a mistake in their PowerPoint slide, they actually pray that the client doesn't find the mistake. But can you imagine how really bad it is? You are presenting a strategy to a client. The client has paid you $1 million or $2 million. The strategy you're presenting may be worth $500 million, because you are going to change the whole strategy. And you are happy to get away with a mistake, and you don't want the client to find that out. And that is 95% of the behavior of consultants, right? And that is the point I'm trying to make. Yeah, a very good consultant, it is rare, but we try to encourage that a lot in our 30 little. A very good consultant, when somebody finds a mistake, you have to actually feel very excited, and it is very rare. But the best consultant is that you are very, while you need to know that you are good, because otherwise you will not have the comfort to go to somebody and make a recommendation. So you need to feel confident. I'm not saying that you need to be less confident or anything. You need to be very confident, because otherwise, if you're not confident about yourself, you cannot stand up to a board or a CEO or a chairman of a company and tell them, this is what I believe you should be doing, this is my analysis, these are my recommendations. So you need to be self-confident. But at the same time, you need to understand that you can make a lot of mistakes. The client is very, very knowledgeable about the topic. You should present it in a way that you invite people to criticize you. That should be the way you present yourself. That when somebody tells you, Thomas, I think you made a mistake, the facial expression should not be defensive. The facial expression, oh shit, did I make a mistake? Oh, please show me where is the mistake. Yeah, you should be very excited about it. Oh, I'm really sorry, I made a mistake, right? Or maybe somebody tells you something very fundamental. I said, you should be very excited. Oh, good, I learned something new, right? And these are the consultants whom I have found to be the most successful consultants, because they expose themselves as if I am confident, but at the same time, if somebody tells me that I'm wrong, I'm very excited. I'm very happy to be proven wrong. I'm very happy that I learned something from you. And I'm very, very happy to correct a mistake I made than hiding a mistake and moving on. You see? And even I can even give you examples, and we screen when we even interview consultants. We do have a set of questions by which I can go through the question step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, till the person talking to me makes a mistake. I do have questions like that. Very intelligent people, I may have to ask 5th or 6th or 7th level, sometimes the 2nd, 3rd level. Every candidate, I discuss with them till they make a mistake. And the moment they make a mistake, the candidate assumes that they lost the interview. No. The decision I take on whether to hire the consultant is the way he reacts to his mistake. And 80% of them, when they make a mistake, they defend why they made a mistake. Oh, I brushed up my financial skills 2 years back. Yesterday I was I stayed up late. I'm not fresh. I'm sorry. They come up with all funny mistakes. funny things, right? 80-85% of them. 10% of them will admit that they have made a mistake, but you can feel that they prefer to have avoided that discussion. Like, I would have been happier if Thomas did not ask me that question by which I made a mistake. But there are, out of 100 candidates I interview, around 5% of them, the moment I tell them that you made a mistake, they forget about the fact that they're sitting in an interview. They really forget about it. And they say, oh, Thomas, I made a mistake. Can you tell me what happened? What went wrong? Oh, so you are saying that this is not the way it has to be calculated. Oh, the net present value application has to be in this context. The person is very excited that he learned something in the interview, and he has in his mind decided, I have lost the job, but he's not sad about losing the job. He's happy about learning something new. This is the candidate that has 100% got the job. The other 95 has lost the job. And let me tell you why I hire such people. Because these people, even though they are extremely intelligent and they are 95% of the time correct, they like to work with a team. They like to teach people. They like to learn, right? Because that is how they are. They want to learn. So whenever they prepare something, they'll go around and ask, Thomas, do you think this is correct? Can you tell me, is there any mistake? They'll go and ask somebody sitting next to them, is this wrong? And there are some people who ask you, is this wrong? They are happy to hear that you're right because they are just boosting their ego. Some people are asking because they're trying to find any mistakes, right? And these consultants by far are the best consultants, right? So the point I'm trying to make is the best consultant is all the qualities that you mentioned, but is always very keen and excited to learn something. The point you made that point actually, that learn something, but he's happy that somebody is teaching him something. He gets excited about it. It's not about just learning. He feels excited. He feels, oh, Thomas, thank you very much. Thank you very much for teaching me something. You see, those are by far the best consultants. But it is very rare because everybody tells them you're too smart, you're the class topper, you're first rank holder, this, and nobody can prove you wrong. And that's how they are developed, right? So that's what I started this answering this question by saying that, the requirement of a good consultant is actually contradictory. You have to be very intelligent. At the same time, you should be willing to learn, and you should admit that you make a lot of mistakes, which intelligent, smart people, toppers, not easy for them to say that.
Now, what has your biggest learnings been from COVID on a personal level and on a business level?
On a personal level, you suddenly realized how important is it to be in the company of good people, because in COVID you are supposed to start practicing uh, social distancing, and then you realize that when you don't meet people for a while, you realize how important was your relationship, time spent with friends, family members, clients, and all of that. So the value of a relationship, suddenly you start appreciating it much more. And before, you had a tendency to take it for granted, and COVID has suddenly given you that, guys, it is what the fact that you were able to spend time, meet people, you suddenly appreciate the importance of that. Yeah. But another counter to that is you suddenly realize that we were doing a lot of things which was unnecessary, right? For example, you don't have to go to office every day. You can work from home. Yeah, you can save the time of 1 hour up and down. Let us say if you're working in Bangalore or Bombay, you need not have to go to the office for every day. For example, even from a business perspective, like 30% of the visits to the hospital was not required, right? I can even go on to the business side. As a part of COVID, we have done many projects in the last, let us say, 4 to 5 months, and we have covered almost every sector, right? And what we are realizing is, you can take the example of, let us say, Uber or Ola, right? They digitized before COVID, but many other sectors are digitalizing because of COVID, which what Ola is doing. But if you look at a company like Uber, what I don't know whether people know the statistics. Before Uber came in, around 40% of the taxis were moving around empty, looking for a passenger, right? But the moment you have this e-hailing, 90% of the taxis are occupied. You see, which means you suddenly require only 30% less taxis. But that is not the saving. People actually make a mistake by assuming that when I reduce the empty taxis, you're reducing the number of taxis and drivers by 30%. No, You are reducing the requirement of roads by 30%, which runs into billions of dollars, right? Similarly, hospitals, 30% of the hospital visits were not required. People who used to go to the hospital now are not going. They could have sat at home and treated themselves and they were getting cured, right? Right? So hospital space could have been reduced or healthcare expenditure could have been reduced by 30%. Restaurants, 30 to 40% of the people are now eating at home, online ordering. You could have reduced the restaurant space by 30%. Parking getting optimized. What I'm saying is because of COVID, people started implementing digital way of doing things, and you are suddenly realizing that you can save 30% of your infrastructure. It can be road, it can be restaurant, it can be hospitals, it can be parking space, it can be anything, right? And that is a huge realization which people people knew it was there, but COVID forced them to do it, and then now they're getting the benefit of it, right?
Now, a path to becoming a partner is not easy. I'm sure it requires a lot of dedication and hard work. So, what advice would you give, or how can someone get on that path and work towards it?
There are two ways to look at it. You can either argue that it is very difficult, or you can argue that it is very simple. If you have the right perspective, actually becoming a partner is actually very simple, right? And there is only one single philosophy you need to follow in life. You have to put yourself in the shoes of your client, and you should never sell a consulting project to a person that if you were in their shoes you would not have bought that consulting engagement. The point I'm making is like, Nikhil, you came to me, Thomas, I want you to help me, and I'm telling you, Nikhil, this is my value proposition and I'm going to charge you $1 million for that. Then I should quickly flip myself and put myself in Nikhil's shoes and say, okay, now I know what Thomas is offering, I know the price he is charging, I know what Thomas is offering, is it the best in the world? If I am Nikhil, would I have got this consulting engagement from Thomas? In the answer is no, I should not sell it. You see the point I'm saying, right? And why it is very important is because if you're very genuine to the client, even if you are not intelligent, it doesn't matter. Why? Because you will bring in good people. See, the point is, if you're genuine to the client, you want the client to get the best outcome, which means you don't have to be good. You are genuine. You will bring the right people from R30 letter. If you don't have the right people in R30 letter, you will bring in external best people into the engagement. And if the client can see through that you are really genuine to the client, it is very, very easy to sell consulting. But people don't do this. 90% of the people don't do it. They put themselves in their own shoes and they try to sell consulting engagements, which I don't think they would have purchased it if they were on the other side. I will tell you one quick input, which I realized, I was so excited to realize this. My best clients are the clients whom I have recommended to go to my competitor. I repeat, if people who have been in consulting for a very long time, you know that your success rate is maybe 1 out of 3 or 4, right? You put in 3 to 4 or 5 proposals and then you win one, because that is the competition in consulting. You have 10, 12 firms, and 4 to 5 of them will be around the ballpark capabilities of yours. It may change. The 4 to 5 out of the 10 to 12 will keep changing. It's not the same set of 4 to 5, right? And like everybody else, your chance is, let us say, 1 in 3 to 4. But let me tell you, I have if a client comes to you and you say, oh, my friend, Arthur Dealit is not the best firm to do this. For this one, I think you should go to Bain, or you should go to McKinsey for this, because I think McKinsey is good in this topic. Or this particular topic, KPMG is better for this, right? Imagine nobody does that. But if you apply the logic that I mentioned and you genuinely believe that I should not be doing this project, McKinsey or Bain or KPMG or another firm is suitable, you tell the client that don't work with me, you go and work with this firm. Okay? The second time when the client comes to me, and if I tell him that I am capable of doing it, what do you think is my success rate? I will 100% get the second project. My success rate has become 1 out of 2 instead of 1 out of 4 to 5. And I did not manipulate the client. I was really genuine to the client. But imagine the client gives me the project because he knows the same person yesterday told me, don't give the project to me, give it to his competitor. He said that to me. Today he's telling me that I will do the project for you. He will 100% give me the project. You see what I'm coming from? So if you apply this logic of being very, very genuine to the client, and you really try to give the best to the client, not what you have in ADL. You should look at what is available in the world, not available within R30 Little. The client is, you're charging them highest amount, right? Strategy consulting is never cheap. So it's a premium product. So when you're selling a premium product, the client deserves the best in the world, not the best in R30 Little, or not the best in BCG, not the best in KPMG. They deserve the best in the world because they are willing to pay the highest amount. So you have an obligation to bring in the best in the world. You tell them that you're not the best, or you tell them, I will facilitate along with our team to bring in the best. And if you do this, you will have a lot of clients, you will be successful, and you will be easily become a partner. Again, there are some general qualities that is expected from a partner. So I just covered one item about being genuine towards the client, right? It is also an expectation that you need to be very good in a particular topic, intellectual capital, right? Because partners are not just selling and delivering projects. You need to be good in a topic. That's an expectation. You also, that's a second criteria for a good partner. The third criteria is you should be developing the organization, right? It's not only developing the client and developing some intellectual um, ideas. You should also develop the organization. And the fourth item, which I think is extremely important, is you should be able to develop your team, right? So anybody who works with you, every time they interact with you or work with you, they feel that they should have learned something and they've developed something, right? This is also very, very important. So to become a good partner, it is very simple if you apply all of this, right? You're very genuine to the client, you give the best to the client, you will make money for sure. You will not lose out of it. By just doing this, you will make more money, right? And you have to be genuine to develop some intellectual capital capabilities. You should develop the organization, and you should very, very importantly develop the people who are working with you. And if this simple four criteria is met, um, you are, I think you will be one of the best partners in a consulting firm.